Hi friends, I'm Umamheshwari. Dreaming big is essential. When Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi said India will become a 5 trillion economy by 2024, as an Indian you would be proud. As an UPSC aspirant, this statement becomes very vital in mains point of view. So today we'll have a mains oriented analysis of can India become a 5 trillion economy by 2024. Currently, India is a 2.8 trillion economy, and to reach the 5 trillion mark by 2024, the economy would require growth rate of almost 12% a year. This growth rate is based on two factors, that is at least 8% of real GDP growth rate and 4% inflation. So the inflation target also comes into consideration when we want to reach the 5 trillion mark. And so the India's aim of becoming a 5 trillion economy is challenging but realizable. See, according to our Prime Minister, everyone is a stakeholder in this country and everyone has a crucial part to play to reach this target. Now you may get a question. What does 5 trillion economy mean? A 5 trillion economy refers to the size of an economy as measured by the annual gross domestic product, that is GDP. So what is GDP? You would have known already. GDP is the monetary value of all final goods and services produced in the economy within a year. So currently India is the sixth largest economy in the world with respect to GDP, and with the 5 trillion economy, India would become the third largest economy. And India is also the third largest economy with respect to purchasing power parity, with respect to PPP. And with respect to GDP, India is currently at sixth position. And with the 5 trillion economy, if India becomes a 5 trillion economy, India would become the third largest with respect to GDP. What are the impediments to reach this target? See, for mains, you have to write as two-liners, different diverse points. So I have given so many points as diverse as possible so that you can write it, because in mains you cannot write paragraphs. So let's come into the impediments. Firstly, rising trade protectionism. Yes, right-wing governments are getting formed in different parts of the world, and the protectionism is increasing, so that people are imposing so many tariffs. The ongoing trade war is one such attestation. And the second important impediment is the ongoing India's agrarian crisis. You can see almost the agriculture provides livelihood to 50% of the Indian people, but it produces only 16% with respect to GDP. The output it gives is 16%, whereas it employs 50% of Indian population. So you can see how the mismatch occurs. So and also most of the Indian agriculture is monsoon dependent, and this coupled with the prices of the agricultural products is getting lost even during the bumper period. So this is one important impediment to reach the target. And another major impediment is the twin balance sheet syndrome, which is the balance sheet of both the corporates and the banks are affected. So the banks are not ready to lend to prospective buyers, and the corporates who are in need of funds have no other source. So this is definitely a critical problem for the Indian economy. And another important is the rising state debts. See, after the introduction of Uday scheme, after the states took over the debts of the discoms, the state debts began to rise, and this is an impediment to reach the 5 trillion target. And again, rising unemployment rates. According to the official unemployment data released by NSSO, the unemployment rate for the financial year 2018 is 6.1, which is very, very high. The normal rate, that is the average rate, can be 3%, but 6.1 is too high. And this will create a tripling effect on all through the economy. And another factor which we have already discussed is the growth rate and the inflation. A double-digit growth rate is essential, and the inflation target should also be under control, which is almost, it should be at 4% till 2024. Now let's discuss how we can reach the target of 5 trillion economy. The most important thing is investment in infrastructure. Almost 100 crore lakh rupees has to be spent over the next 5 years building roads and other essential infrastructure for the manufacturing and the service sector to prosper. So the government must focus majorly on investment in infrastructure. And the second important thing is support for startups. See, the startups are very much important for any economy to grow. So the startups must be given enough financial capital and also the technological support, and also the infrastructure it requires. And building the delivery chains and providing market to the startups is another important move. And skilling youth to reduce unemployment, because we have n number of yojanas like Kaushal Vikas Yojana, Sankalp, Strive. So all these things have to be implemented in a better way so that youth are skilled and are ready for employment. Because most of the students who come out of college are unemployable according to statistics. Monetary policy will be another key. The monetary policy so that it turns down the twin balance syndrome, and it helps the banks so that the banks are ready to lend loans to the prospective sectors. And also till 2024, the inflation and the growth rate has to be managed together in monetary policy. And digital inclusion is another key, because with digital divide, the even if the India becomes a 5 trillion economy, the growth will not be inclusive. Only it will be divergent. And this again is not good for a longer term. It will not be sustainable. And another important way is to increase the level of investment, and that too driven by the private sector. See, in most of the countries like US, Canada, the private sector, they invest more in terms of research or other things. But in case of India, mostly this is done by the public sector. And this has to be driven by the private sector. And this is one important thing for India to reach the target of 5 trillion. And a special focus should be on agriculture and services. Let us take the example of the developed countries. You see, in the case of developed countries, the contribution of agriculture to the GDP would be minimal, just 1%. Okay. And with respect to India, the contribution of agriculture to GDP is almost 16%. That is fantastic. But what is the problem is, in the developed countries, the 1% GDP is contributed by 1% of the employees. So the agriculture employs 1% and it delivers an output of 1%. But in the case of India, the almost 50% of people are involved in agriculture and they contribute to 16% of the GDP. So this was again recommended by the Aravind Panagria committee, which told that at least you have to take up the disguised employees in agriculture, from agriculture to the secondary sector like manufacturing. So 16% GDP must be contributed only by 16%. So only if this case is possible, there will be a relief to the agriculture sector. And coming to services, India is a key service provider, a net service provider economy. So if we focus much on services, it would add to our strength, because now China is coming up in a big way with respect to artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality, IoT, etc. But India's investment in such technologies is minimal. So India has to focus on the prospective areas with respect to services. And innovation is a key. So we have Atal Innovation Mission and helping the entrepreneurs to take up innovative projects. But this is not done in a bigger scale. So something with respect to innovation has to be done so that research and development is prospective and it is result oriented. And MSMEs, they are very crucial and they are the prime drivers of growth with equity. See, MSMEs is the second most important sector after agriculture that employs a majority of Indian population. So proper investment in MSMEs so that they deliver proper results productively. This is another key to reach the target. And creating greener jobs. Nowadays, creating just jobs doesn't matter, because sustainable development means our environment should not be compromised. So creating greener jobs involving an overall development, that is sustainable development, is important. And community development, see, before when we were in school or in that era, the interaction in the community was too high. If we have to go to movies or shopping, we go as a community. But now, with the advent of technology, the community interaction is getting down. So for India to get that target, we must develop as a community, because the synergy when in development is important. So, before targeting the 5 trillion mark, India will have to act on its uh, areas, that is the bad areas, and it should unclog the sizable number of stalled projects, and it must remove the policy shortcomings and blunders that were strictly avoidable. So, the government must also understand the problem areas, the impediments that are pulling it down in the race among its peer economies. And the government's 5 trillion target is ambitious and a strong statement of intent, but it must be followed with action, with a clear roadmap supported by action plans to succeed. Without the roadmap, the target would be just a wishful thinking, and the year 2024 is not just that far. But anyway, we'll achieve the target in a rocking manner. Proud to be an Indian. You can find some important courses in the website www.pivotin.in. They have charged a nominal fee so that it is used by the serious candidates of UPSC. So I have a detailed analysis of UPSC prelims question papers from 2011 to 2019. Any serious aspirant would know this is vital before getting into the prelims exam. And some people have not much clarity on banking, but nowadays a number of questions are asked in banking. So I have designed a special course for banking too. So if you have time, please get into those courses and make use of them. Thank you. Have a nice day.